Captain, incoming message.
It was the dawn of the third age of mankind.
Groovy.
Hi-ho. This is me, Kermit the Frog.
Hello there.
Moopsie.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Not a great plan.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
Let's see what's out there. Engage.
Hey there, we're those sci-fi guys, and this is at Those Sci-Fi Guys Show. Just two working dudes, different lives, different jobs, but a whole lot of love for science fiction and the fun that comes with. We are your hosts. I am P.S. McKay, and I think we're all Zac Efron today.
I'm GT Cavman, and I have no idea what you mean.
There's a scene. There's a scene, you might relate to this. There's a scene where he's a passenger in the front seat, and Cher's "Do You Believe in Love" is playing, and he's like, "Do you believe?" And he's like, "I'm trying, Cher, I'm trying." And that shot has been used for numerous memes and
Oh, is this that movie with that
Family
annoying
Affair?
girl?
Or no, a Family Affair with
The
Nicole
annoying
Kidman.
girl is his personal assistant.
Probably. She's in Kissing Booth. My wife loves her. So so before you besmirch said Joey King's name any further. So that's her name.
Joey King?
That's her name. In real life.
Okay.
Well, now I have to verify. Yeah, it's Joey King. I thought it was the character's name, but that's Zara Ford. So that's a whole different thing. Anyway, how you doing, TT?
I'll tell you, I do wish I'd had Zac Efron's abs and probably hair. They're good.
Rumor has it, allegedly, all surgery.
Even the hair?
Even the hair. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I think I think he's a fully natural, tall, dark glass of water, or tall, cold glass of water.
Tall, dark drink of water. There you go.
Tall, dark drink of water. So,
do you know two of his earliest roles?
Well, he was in High School Musical, but that's kind of when he broke out. It is probably earlier. No, I don't know beyond High School Musical.
He played young Simon Tam in a flashback in Firefly.
Oh, he did. Okay,
one of his first roles, and in another one before he had High School Musical, he was on an episode of NCIS.
Of course. So, and you would recognize him from that.
Well, it was one of those things where it's like I don't know. It might have been a Watch Mojo video of like people who were on NCIS before they became big stars.
Yeah,
like
I got
people who were on Law and Order.
Yeah,
people who were on MASH. All that stuff.
That's true. Okay, all right. I can get with that.
But I was watching a rerun. Years later, once that kid had already blown up and was in stuff. Like, man, this kid looks like Zac Efron. And then I rewound it because it was on DVD, so I backed it up to the credits. I'm like, oh shit, it is. Okay. Fair enough.
Well, like I'm saying, we're all Zac Efron today. I'm trying, Cher. I'm trying.
I've been very much in kind of neck deep in Paramount Plus, and I don't think I'm coming out anytime soon lately. Not only is Strange New Worlds just finished its third season, but some of my favorite Taylor Sheridan shows are coming back. Tulsa King comes back for season 3 this weekend, and Landman comes in a couple of weeks. Sam Elliott is now in the cast. I'm super excited for that.
Well, I mean, any kind of Western, it's obligatory to have Sam Elliott in.
Of course. Oh, and by the way, it looks like both Kevin Pollak and Samuel L. Jackson will appear in Tulsa King season 3.
Yes. Now, here's my question to you.
Mm-hmm.
Does Landman take place in the same universe as Yellowstone? Because they're both Tyler Sheridan vehicles, and
Taylor.
Sam Elliott, Taylor Sheridan, sorry, Ty Sheridan, nice. And Sam Elliott was
in
prominent.
1883.
Yeah. So he'd be a little bit older in Landman, but probably still getting around, right?
Well, different character, it appears. But that's never stopped Taylor Sheridan.
No.
Literally, one of the daughter in Landman was also starring in 1923.
That just means that they're like descendants.
Maybe. We'll see. Needless to say, when he likes an actor, he will put him to work. And there's definitely some people who had like small or recurring roles in like Yellowstone and some of his other TV series who have either guest starred in other ones or have gotten more prominent roles in later series.
Right.
Which is cool. But Samuel L. Jackson is rumored to do it, having a spinoff created around him called Nola King.
Oh. Yeah, that's going to be good. I mean, I can already just say it right now.
In the trailer for Tulsa King season 3, they've already shown Sam walking in and sitting down with Sly. So
yeah,
we
saw
know
that too.
We know it's happening. That's just to whet your appetite. But also, going back to a previous discussion point, there's a new NCIS only on Paramount Plus. NCIS Tony and Ziva. They're on the run through Europe.
You're going to have to forgive me, but I am not familiar with the NCIS
NCIS
series. I mean, I know I've seen it, but I don't watch it.
Sure.
So I'm not familiar with it.
When NCIS was like the number one drama on TV, and it still is extremely popular. Mark Harmon's team included Michael Weatherly as Tony DiNozzo, his second in command, movie quoting wise ass, and the second female after the first one was, well, the character was permanently retired, so to speak. The second female.
About the brunette that wore eccentric clothing.
No, that's Abby. She was the goth girl who was the forensics. No, you had Kate, who was a former Secret Service agent, and her character was killed off, and she was replaced by a Mossad agent, Ziva.
Oh, I like Cote de Pablo.
Cote de Pablo is great.
She's fantastic.
Oh yeah, but Ziva was like her bread and butter, right? She was on the show for like close to a decade. Then she leaves. They kind of hint that the character might have been killed off screen somewhere. Who brought them the news that her character might be dead? Marina Sirtis as the new head of Mossad.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I do remember you mentioning Marina's role in NCIS as that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, it's pretty good. Of course, she always brings her gravitas to it with snark, which is something she's very good at. But yada, 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 whatever stuff, TV, not dead. Guest stars reunites and now they eventually they've had their own spinoff, which has been fun because it's been so long since those of us who were fans of the show got to see these two together. Definitely, it's almost like a reboot series, or like a 15, 20 years later, they bring back a TV show, right?
Right.
And seeing some of these characters slide back into the role, and it feels so effortless when done right, is really good, right? We were all looking forward to that.
23 years? 22?
Yeah. And it was a backdoor pilot of JAG, which itself ran for 10 years.
Right.
And it, because NCIS spun off into, they have a lot of spinoffs now, but the first one was LA. The second one was New Orleans. The third one was Hawaii. And the fourth one is Origins, which follows the story of the main character, Gibbs, in his early days. Now, plus this Ziva and Tony spinoff. But first NCIS LA and then later NCIS Hawaii crossed over with Hawaii 5-0 a couple of times.
Yeah.
Which Hawaii 5-0 crossed over with the Magnum reboot. So all of those are now in one connected universe.
Did CSI ever cross over?
I don't think so. Would have been too much of a letter jumble.
I would have, but you mentioned her character supposedly getting off screen. Well, they literally did that in an episode of CSI New York. And they actually spent the episode figuring out who this Jane Doe was, only to find out that it was one of theirs after her being gone for like a year.
Yep.
I'm like,
NCIS
wow, that's
has
dark.
done that too.
That's pretty freaking dark. Just, I mean, and when something like that happens, you know something bad behind the scenes was brewing.
Yeah,
I'm not blaming her, by the way. I'm not pointing fingers, but there was less kumbaya and a lot of friction at some point. So,
you hear these things with TV shows, and it's not always pretty. But like I said, I've been pretty much living in Paramount Plus as my primary streaming service lately. So
me too, since I got it 2.5 months ago. I just been streaming the hell out of Reno 911 because hell yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
I have
and
gone
Beavis and Butthead.
I went through a bit when I got Paramount Plus. I went through a binge of Wings, the classic
yeah
80s, 90s sitcom that takes place on Nantucket. Of course, I've also been binging a lot of Taylor Sheridan shows. So, yeah, that's pretty fascinating. And, well, I mean, he writes some good shows. Really does.
Well, he's an exceedingly talented individual. And when you see writing like that, you hold on to that talent because the talent pool in Hawaii is less than, shall we say.
Talent pool in Hawaii?
Hollywood. Did I say Hawaii? Sorry.
You
I meant
said
Hollywood.
Hawaii.
No. I swear, I'm not even drinking tonight.
Well, good writing really does win out. And I sent you a meme earlier today.
Yes.
And it was, from one of the Star Trek pages where it's like,
Let me pull it up. In a minute.
I think it bears some interesting discussion. I'm
gonna have to
commented, and I didn't get flamed. A lot of people agreed with me on this, and it's more of a factor of the changing of how we consume media versus that was more my point rather than harp on, quality or whatever.
Yes.
Which
Sorry,
can
it's
get
taking
you
me a moment.
canceled.
Which can get you canceled. I don't even know to what you're referring. I mean, that's a weighty thing to say.
Well,
hold on.
there's people who like go looking to flame people for like talk bad about something, and they just make an assumption it's because, oh, you didn't like this because this leans this way or it leans this way, or it's like, no, I just didn't find the writing to be particularly strong. Like when we discussed The Acolyte, we felt the writing was bad, the pacing was poor. When we criticize most things, it generally comes from a point of, was it well written? Was it well
There's
acted?
a point. It's a point of reason.
Yes.
Yes. So why don't you go ahead and read this?
Star Trek is too silly now. The darkest Star Trek show literally put a galactic war on pause for a wacky casino heist. Oh, and a wacky baseball game, which was in the same season.
Necessary, yes. What is it you said in the Facebook comments?
So basically, what my point was is, I actually think it's not too silly now per se, because they basically have the same amount of silly episodes as they did back then. The difference is you have 2 to 3 silly episodes a season in a 10-episode season, and I can kind of derail your season. You could put 3 of those.
Be reading my mind, sir.
You could put 3 goofy episodes into a 22 to 26 episode season of The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and it wouldn't derail the overall narrative. Even Deep Space Nine or Voyager, which had a tendency to be a little more linear in their storytelling due to the nature of their shows. Where The Next Generation, you could basically watch an episode from season 7 right after an episode from season 3. I wouldn't recommend seasons 1 and 2 mixed too much in there, just because of how drastic it is. But you could watch The Measure of a Man right after Best of Both Worlds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely.
The uniform changes would most definitely be jarring. But,
I'm actually this is the season 7 episode, right? The Bada Bing, Bada Bang.
Yeah,
here it is.
Actually.
Episode 15, season 7, out of 25 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those episodes, What You Leave Behind, is actually only being counted as a single hour-and-a-half episode. Sure. It's actually technically 26, but.
So I said part of the reason Trek feels sillier now is that there's the same amount of fun episodes in a 10-episode season as there were in a 22-plus episode season. I think it skews the perception. And then I have like 4 or 5 comments that are like, I came here to say this, or this is exactly it. These filler episodes were a welcome respite from more serious fare. This is other people, right? Made up the majority of a 24-episode season. But now we're down to 10 and have the same number of filler episodes. It does kind of jerk you out. Now, what I will say is having those little 1, maybe 2 tops in one of these seasons, you could get on like a 3-4 episode run, have a break, maybe a 2-episode run, have a break before you finish the narrative strong would be fine. But a couple of these, like particularly Strange New Worlds, which I appreciate the fact that they're willing to be a little lighter, because I thought Discovery took itself too seriously at times.
It's so seriously to the point of parody, really. It was.
Yeah, and their humor a lot of times, particularly in the first couple of seasons, were really flat.
I mean, you could just tell. It's like, okay, show me your cry. everyone needs to cry in this show. So show me how you cry. You're in. Like
Right.
It's like,
So, you know, there were some people who came in and said that they feel that the writing isn't as strong. Okay, fair enough. And also, these were cranked out every year. A lot of these streaming shows, I don't know, you don't know. Should it be every September or whatever, like it used to be? Definitely make it a little easier for us rather than wait 18 months, 2 years between seasons. I'm giving some people a bit of a pass due to the strike 2 years ago, which really affected some of these heavy budget shows and pushed a lot of their stuff almost and even a year further out. But still, like it's
it takes
not
5
consistent.
years to recover from a strike. And this
Well,
strike was the longest strike on record.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
the one from 2008 lasted 100 days. And the effects were still being felt for 4 years later in television and cinema. So
Sure. And even current network television, since COVID, have struggled to even get back to 20 episodes.
you're right, and it's funny because our television, my family's television habits changed because of COVID. We tried to get back into it the following fall of 2020 when they started production back, or like most of the shows, it wasn't even in the fall. They started premiering in like November, like, the Goldbergs or American Housewife and things. We're a big sitcom family. At least we were.
Yeah,
but
I used to be too.
Even at that point, like, it tried, and after everything that had happened at that point, and I don't know if you know this, DT, but you were on your deathbed. Kind of changes perspectives. Like,
Well, I'm surprised I didn't, dive right into TikTok because my freaking attention span in the hospital was like 5-10 minutes before I
right? Yeah.
doze off or something.
But we are in a point of change when it comes to entertainment, and it's quite as simple as why we don't have Saturday morning cartoons anymore. Which it's slowly changed. Like, we were 90s kids, right?
It's mostly because the kids all have 1,700 things to do every Saturday morning.
Right. But it was a slow, gradual change of habit. And then the industry just slowly changed. Like, ABC used to have all the Saturday morning cartoons that I could watch. Well, all 3 networks. 4 if you count.
Well, they were all
Fox.
competing with each other.
And they were. And then at some point in 98, 97, 98, like, and I stopped watching at that point because, I was in high school. But I would randomly, one morning I turned it on. It was like 97 or 98, and I was like, yeah, I wonder what the Saturday morning cartoons look like now. College football on ABC. There was like golf on CBS or NBC. I mean, there was nothing. The last holdout was Fox, and then even they, by like 2000, were stopped. So it's the same thing. Economically, it's impossible for a television network to be able to sustain themselves on commercial fees that they earn from the commercial sales, to fund a 26 episode season now. Like, I can guarantee you, like all the other ones that are still there, they're only there because they have a loyal audience. But anything new, it's never gonna get a 26 episode order, not even a 20 episode order. It will be 10, 13. And that's just the economics of it from now on.
And that sucks.
It does. I agree, because I hate change. I fear change.
Well, it's not just that.
I know. I'm trying to just light it up a little bit, but yeah.
you don't get to expand these worlds as much without it, right?
No.
Take Strange New Worlds, for instance, right? It is arguably the closest to what we would call the Trek we grew up with. Outside of Lower Decks, I would say. Lower Decks is clearly a true homage to what we grew up with. You know, the Berman era Trek, the original series, that sort of stuff. But Strange New Worlds leaned into a little more, it's definitely more episodic. Okay.
Yeah, it does a lot of what I liked that Stargate did. It was episodic, but it still had running plot lines that they
Which
would
is
revisit, as was
basically what
demonstrated
Deep
by
Space
today's
Nine
finale.
did.
Yeah, Deep Space Nine did that too. Yeah.
Sure. This did have culmination of a couple of different storylines in Strange New World season finale, New Life and New Civilizations. That's a good title. It's a good Star Trek title. It was one of the, I would call it one of the better acted episodes
Yep.
Of the season. More so that things felt a little more fluid than a few others.
And we only saw Ortega speak once. Perfect episode. Perfect.
You know,
I'm sorry. Nothing against the actress. Nothing against. I know she had a big episode right before. Nothing against her. It's just
you might want to watch that one. You might, and I'm not saying it's going to change your life on this character, but I thought they did a good job with that character in that episode.
I've actually heard some pretty good things about I'm probably not going to watch it though, DT. I'm sorry, but I understand what you're saying. I do.
And I would almost recommend it over most other episodes in this season, to be honest with you.
Most of it is really just me making fun of the fact that I make fun of Ortegas that I don't like her
all the time. Yeah,
that's all. That's the only comment. It's really more of a throwback to my pissy attitude. Sure. So not her.
You know, and this season did have a lot of sillier episodes, I would say. But yeah. Although Patton Oswalt, as a Vulcan who is fascinated by humans and like endeavors to like, you know, actually honor human culture, is actually kind of refreshing. Kind of, yeah.
He was a human fanboy.
Yeah.
He literally, I mean, that's who he is. I mean, clever, but
it also kind of flew in the face of everything else.
Well, agreed. Yeah.
Which in that episode, which I liked, I felt it was that one. I felt kind of turned some things on the head because it was pretty at times ridiculous in that episode. But I will say this: this whole season is definitely had little moments of where they're trying to say, "Hey, in a couple years, this is going to be the new crew of the Enterprise." Like the episode where, you know, they have to rescue the Farragut and the existing, you know, the future crew of the Enterprise under Kirk all end up helping out Commander Kirk and the Farragut, which wasn't
Kirk shows
terrible.
up a lot.
He shows up. He does show up a lot.
He shows up a little too much. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Paul Wesley.
Yes, I do feel that. I do
the
feel
Farragut's not even a support ship. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
They do shoehorn, I think, Kirk in a lot. In fact, in the Vulcan episode, he was totally shoehorned in.
So,
but
go ahead, keep going. Sorry,
but his appearance in this episode was actually useful.
It was a little more organic.
Yes, it was more organic. They needed help. They had established in, I believe, season 2 that the Farragut is kind of a sister ship to Enterprise.
Did they? It's a support ship like the Hood was to the Enterprise D?
Kind of, yeah.
Huh.
In one episode in season 2, Pike was given command over this sector of space, which also includes the Farragut. So he technically would outrank the Farragut's captain, and could make decisions. It was hinting at his future as a fleet captain. And that was in season 2. So they've kind of established it. The Farragut showing up to assist a couple of times kind of reminds me of the couple of times they requested Columbia in season 4 of Enterprise
Mm-hmm.
to help them
Well,
out.
they could at that point.
Correct.
Because there was no Columbia that was flight capable for the first 3 seasons. So
Sure. But I like it that while it would be kind of neat, like they would in the old days of Star Trek when there was so many episodes that you could go, oh, well, we're going to link up with the USS whatever by Captain so-and-so, and you get to see a broader example of the fleet. But anyway, the Farragut showing up here was way more organic. In previous episode, Captain Battelle, Marie Battelle, Pike's love interest, who actually is shoehorned more into these episodes than Kirk is.
she's been, as a captain, she's been, what the hell is she doing?
So her ship was destroyed, and she spent the first half of the season on medical leave.
And then
So
a
she
court
took it on.
martial.
Not this season.
Her ship was destroyed previously. Didn't she get a court martial for that?
It was lost in battle. They didn't court martial her. They figured, if the Gorn was going to eat her from the inside, I think she had enough trouble. Anyway,
No
she was
tribbles,
practically, she was almost a MacGuffin anyway for a few episodes. And you're right, no tribbles.
Thank you.
But this was the culmination of her story. 2 episodes before this, she basically
There's some good screen grabs of this episode. I'm
was
gonna
promoted.
Pop this in.
She was named the replacement for the retiring Starfleet Judge Advocate. So she is no longer. So she was going to take over as, the chief of legal affairs or whatever it was. And Enterprise was going to take her back to Earth, something like that.
Yep.
But the crew gets basically contacted by Roger Corby, who's been studying this, ancient civilizations, and he's on this planet, and he's finally getting somewhere with their clerics. And this planet is very heavily connected to the planet that they ran into in episode 5 through the lens of time.
Where they found a jail filled with pirates.
Right, basically, yeah.
They were pirates.
They're called the Vesda.
Yeah, that really helps, by the way.
But they're very similar to the PA race.
They are the PA race. They didn't have fire, though. They didn't have fire.
But they also take over bodies in a way more horrible way.
Yeah. And they make you gouge your eyes out, apparently.
Yeah.
Just because. I sat there. I literally was watching in the. I'm sorry. It looks like I'm keying you up. I'm sorry.
I think it almost looks like that's how they have to enter the body.
Maybe, but just for the sheer shock factor, I was sitting in the living room watching on my iPad. My dog, I was on the floor, and my dog was wanting to jump on my lap and things, so I have to do that. And that scene happens with those alien followers, and like you're seeing blood squirting out of everyone's eyes.
It's gross.
It's gross. I literally just said, "Oh my god, what the hell is Star Trek doing?" Like, I'm just like more. First of all, more eye torture porn. So thank you for that. The one episode that I come back to this season, they have to regrace us with that. So thank you, not you, but thank you for your conversation.
Well, yeah. Anyway, they end up having to
Keep going. I'll
reroute
be right
this
back.
planet. Because they've learned that this Vesda, this evil spirit, has somehow escaped from. Well, there was a transporter, timey-wimey shit, where like the residue of when he was beamed down to the surface or beamed up, his transporter buffer or his pattern was in the buffer, and somehow it reconstituted poor Nurse Gamble's body, and it goes on this intergalactic network of ley lines to this planet that Corby is on, and he finds that there is a doorway to the Vesda prison. So Enterprise is basically lured there because they want to. Gamble, or the Vesda, there's a connection with Gamble and Benga, so he's what he needs. He's the whatever MacGuffin, because you can't go through these pathways on your own. You have to go through two at a time, and Gamble was linked to Mbenga, so he ambushes Mbenga, and they take him through the doorway back to the prison, several dozen light years away.
And what do they use?
A doorway, almost like a gateway, kind of
for
like
ley lines. On ley lines. This is a very magical episode. Like they basically just stopped with the science and went, "We're gonna go with magic now," because I mean, literally, that was a line that Pike said. It's like, well, we're dealing with technology so advanced, it might as well be magic. What do we do? And it's like, well, get a talisman.
Indistinguishable from magic is something like, I mean, that was Thor.
Arthur C. Clarke.
Yeah, but that was also the debate Thor and Jane had in the first Thor episode, or first Thor movie. And there's discussions, on Babylon 5.
But in Babylon 5 wasn't even technically heavy. They were scientifically accurate physically, but they didn't do a lot of technobabble.
Not really, no.
Star Trek was based on technobabble, and
sure,
ley lines are a mystical thought of different elements of power around the Earth being connected.
Right, so, and that's what Spock, basically poo-pooed it, but Sam Kirk's like, no, man, they're real.
I know.
Which I'm sure only pissed Spock off more.
I mean, Sam made a perfectly good case. He laid out all the factual evidence of why they're real. He explained the history of how they were established and the physics of how it's used. No, he just said, yeah, they're real. Oh, well, we accept it.
But and I was just waiting for Spock to say, nobody likes your mustache.
Poor Sam.
Sam actually got a happy ending in this episode, which I liked.
And we're going to talk about the endings of it. And I also want to just bring up, they could have just said quantum entanglement, dimensional shift,
mycelial network.
But they really do want to keep going back to that, don't they? In some form or another.
This is just that.
Yeah. Why do they keep doing that? Quantum entanglement. Like, instead of mushrooms growing throughout the galaxy / universe.
I mean, it's not the first time we've had interesting forces in space. Remember the episode of Deep Space Nine Explorers, where Cisco and Jake build the Bajoran sail ship, and they get caught up in this subspace current or whatever that whips them halfway to Cardassia.
And that's fine. What the biggest, the most offending element of that, though, was that was an ancient Bajoran spaceship. How the hell did they get that into orbit? Like, how would the ancient Bajoran, did they have these rockets?
Catapults.
Is that what they have? Is that
ginormous catapults?
So it's not in beta canon. Okay. But
I don't know.
That was the most egregious offending factor for me. Even back in the day when it first aired, I'm like, how in the hell did they get that thing into orbit? Beyond orbit.
I don't know.
Like,
I just enjoyed Cisco's beard so much that I barely paid attention to that piece.
So even back then, that bothered crap out of me. Other than that, the rest of the episode was fine. But the whole time, I'm like, how'd they get that in? Like, they wouldn't do that. They can't. They don't. Okay. Anyway.
Well, anyway, this magical space network, they're learning that it's connected, and if this guy, is able to free his prison buddies, then they'll just swarm this planet. He was already developing this being had been there long enough that they were starting to cultivate a cult around him. I mean, you saw these, frenzied worshipers who then start gouging out their eyes like, yay, then you can give me a demon to put in me.
It's like,
trust me, the demon isn't going to want a lot of bodies. Like, if a demon entered my body, you go, dude, what's wrong with your joints?
Yeah, he'd feel so bad he'd want to give it back.
Oh God.
Can I ask a question about the beginning of the episode when they realized that he was alive? Like, Scotty found his pattern, reconstituted randomly. Like, they were doing a diagnostic on the transporter. Okay, fine. How did they know? Like, didn't he die? Or was he disassembled in the transporter and never reassembled? Like,
at one point, I think it was he had been beamed up at one point. And that's when Mbenga's trying to heal him before he realizes, oh, he's actually dead, brain dead. So clearly there must have been something in the transporter buffer, yada yada yada. Somehow Palpatine returned.
That was the other factor. Then that was the other issue. That's not good writing. And by the way, it's just turned the transporter into this resurrection machine now.
Well, if anybody was going to figure it out, it was going to be Scotty.
Your pattern is supposed to be erased after every use. That's because it's just too much information for the computer to hold on long term. I understand, though. Like, you're disassembling everything. It gets icky, especially now that we have a better understanding of how the transporter would work in conjunction with the computer that is in charge of taking you apart and then putting you back together. There is going to be that signature, which never existed in Star Trek until like late 90s. So, yeah.
Well, it is what it is. But, you've got Christine doing some sort of workup on Marie and figuring out that she's got the same DNA as this statue, some live statue that was in the prison that seemed to be what is blocking the, by the way, beautiful picture of the Enterprise.
It's a good shot, right? That's exactly what made me go, ooh, there's some good stills that I want to share here. That's literally the shot. So I don't even know what's left. There's one more left. There's one more.
I do think the neck looks a little short on this one, but
it does.
Still pretty.
It does. Did the nacelles swoop back, or are they just out perpendicular?
Well, that's not how it was originally designed, but maybe that's how they've.
I think it's swooped back here. Yeah. Anyway, I interrupted you. I apologize. Continue.
Well, basically, the long story short is Battelle realizes that she's got some sort of connection and may be the thing to stop this next jailbreak, and where they can not only beat this guy but also save Mbenga. And they realize that
she has a wormhole alien in her body.
Kind of, but between the MacGuffin plant that they use to help, make her body merge more with the Gorn, so human and plant and Gorn and everything, it's all kind of there. But apparently, it's like paradoxical, where she is
already
the once in future.
Yeah.
Yes. Which that's not unheard of in both sci-fi and fantasy.
When one exists outside of time, that is correct, and I'll let that slide. It's fine. I
mean, we've seen it in 2 fantastic Star Trek series finales. Sisko as the godlike from non-linear and corporeal time, and Picard figuring out the paradox where things got bigger the farther back in the past he went.
Yeah. Like they started it. We started it.
And then you also have almost a little bit like a more fantastical version of finding Data's head in a cave from the 19th century.
Well, I mean, they were playing around with timey-wimey things that, as long as the timeline doesn't branch, which parallels, showed that, but
don't cross the streams.
Don't cross the streams.
Ghostbusters showed us that.
Yeah.
But apparently this beholder statue is what is the key that keeps all of these bad guys in this prison, right?
Right.
And they're trying to figure out a way to get through this gateway again. And it's like, well, it's not really keyed. Well, can we force it open? And they're like, well, basically it's like you need the fire of 1,000 suns kind of thing.
How about a nuclear battery? No. 2 nuclear batteries?
That was kind of funny.
That was fine. I was fine with that. It's then
it was just a little snarky that I kind of appreciated at that time.
Yeah, and then it suggests, well, what about the Spock says a phaser burst from the Enterprise could provide enough for half of the power requirements needed. And then they're like, well, what if we get the Farragut over here? And then here's what happens. This is where I had to stop, and I texted you. Phaser fire is not additive. And then Scotty goes, no, but phaser fire is complementary. And then Spock stops and he goes, fascinating. And none of that means anything. That makes no sense whatsoever. None. It means that there's a certain power output that maximizes, but the very fact that you say that means that even if you add 1,000 starships to fire on, it can only reach a certain level of power. So if they're complementary, that means that there's like a 100% power level, right? And
so
here's Enterprise provides 50%, Farragut provides 50% of that. But they don't add to more than the 100% that technically would be additive.
It would if Tim Allen was in charge.
More power. Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Right.
But that was stupid.
There's 2 people who've lived their lives by more power. One is Tim Allen, and the other was Montgomery Scott.
You forgot Captain Power.
Nah.
Okay, well, technically he was a captain too. So
Anyway, this worked. Techno Babble Engage. Oh, but
there
we
was
have
no
to do it so we have to do it so simultaneously. So
oh my god.
can I mind
Program
meld with
computer.
JC?
Oh my god, that also bothered me. I'm sorry. That was not.
I
That was
kind of
over.
like their interaction though. It's like,
I
yeah,
mean,
this
yes.
thing on Rigel, whatever. Just ignore that.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, yes, those are good things that you get to see, but the necessity for them to do the meld in the first place because they have to be perfectly in sync, and Ortegas even says one of her 3 lines in the whole episode, they're relaying back faster than subspace signals. It's like, how? Like, I just program the Enterprise computer to fire the Farragut phasers too.
Just remember, young Spock was not only the galaxy's greatest lover, but he was also,
oh my god,
better than the computer.
He went through more. There are some words that I could say that I would regret tomorrow if I said it. He went through more relationships than Kirk ever did in the original series.
Well, true, because these were actually pseudo relationships. Kirk probably went through more.
All the while, Spock is still engaged.
No, she called it off. Well, she called it, or she like kind of broke
called it
off
off spiritually.
Yeah, whatever. They did that so basically so they could do he's going to hook up with Christine. Okay, then she's done and now involved with the random dude who showed up in one episode of the original series. Oh, him. And then out of left field, Spock and La'an. I'm going to say I love Ethan Peck as Spock. I think he does a very good job. There's a lot of pressure on him, okay? Whereas unlike Zachary Quinto, who had the benefit of sitting with Nimoy and kind of getting his blessing and getting to work with him, Ethan Peck...
They became friends.
Yeah, they did commercials together.
They did a music video together for... it was Bruno Mars. I Don't Want to Do Anything.
Oh,
I thought it was a secondary music video. No, nice though, right? Look, yeah, it was a good video.
The pressure on this kid, he's Gregory Peck's grandson.
Yeah.
And he's got to play Spock.
So he's got the weight of royalty on him. Yeah.
I'm surprised I'm surprised they have pants that can fit this guy for balls that big.
He's actually a pretty good Spock. Like, my complaints
I do.
My complaints about actors who don't know how to play Vulcans. Like, they play arrogant.
Yeah.
He's not arrogant. He's actually a pretty good Spock, but the writing for him, like, constantly going emotional and stuff like that.
I know they're trying to show a younger Spock, and I know if they're taking the cage for what it is, and this scenes where Spock smiles.
That's exactly their get out of jail free card, and it's I'm sorry, it doesn't fly. Look, the context was they didn't know what Spock was at that point.
I will take a little, that he's a little more emotional now, particularly in earlier, but I'll give a little wiggle room. He has just everything happens to Spock.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. All of it. Or everything happened to everyone else because of Spock.
He's almost become the Miles O'Brien of this. Spock's got to suffer.
Yeah, actually, you're absolutely correct.
If we're going to make Spock suffer, though, we're going to toss plenty of hot women at him. That's the answer.
See, Miles O'Brien didn't have that benefit. He was married perfectly happily, by the way, and loyally.
Perfectly
Very
happily
loyal.
with a very lovely wife.
Yes. He did have one Cardassian throw herself at him.
Yeah, and he rejected her so hard, she had a complete meltdown. She altered herself to look like a human and took over a space station for J. Michael Straczynski.
Oh, that was her?
Yeah, that was Tracy Scoggins. One episode of Deep Space Nine, and then boom, Command of the B5.
Why not? Why not?
Why not indeed? Why not indeed?
And then this episode becomes
It's very metaphysical.
They decide to recreate the opening scene of Up. And they interlight Pike.
They do. It is interlight. You know, it's funny. There was something similar done in the recent final season of the drastically underrated Prime Video TV show Upload.
Yeah. Did they do it did they fast forward to be able to see how his soul would go, or did they actually do a what if thing?
I will leave it to your imagination right now, because I really do think this is a show you would enjoy.
Ugh, I gotta be honest with you. The idea brings me anxiety because the entire concept of me uploading my consciousness like that freaks me out. I know, you're right. I mean, I would probably love it. I'm just telling you what my hang up is. That's all.
It's a good show.
I'm filled with a lot of hang ups. You know this.
Yes,
So.
we're humans. We all do.
So.
But yes, they basically give Pike and Patel
actually gives the gift to Pike of it, to see what life would be like together with
because
each other.
She now knows they both are doomed.
Yep.
To live.
And suddenly she's got magic.
I don't know. She keeps bringing Pike back. Maybe she's been magic all along. She got him to shave the beard.
Yes, you're right. She does keep bringing, but that's the power of a good woman, though.
To quote Huey Lewis, that's the power of love.
Yes, I probably should have said it that way. Oh well.
This also kind of reminds me a little bit of the last episode of Scrubs.
This whole episode felt very final, to be honest with you.
It felt very much like a series finale.
It really did. It ended.
Everyone's
Everyone's storyline
is filming season 5. They're like filming it starting like next week.
Well, I'm pretty sure that they weren't sure if they were going to get a 4th season.
Maybe not, with everything up in the air the way it is.
Yeah. You know,
so they did
strikes and
they
stuff.
did what B5 did rather than what Discovery did, where Discovery had to shoehorn in an ending.
Oh yeah, they thought they were going to keep going.
Right. But B5 thought that they were getting endings, so they had a series finale filmed. Then they got another year, so they filmed another kind of weird, kind of fascinating episode, and then they bumped that episode they filmed all the way to the end. So that's why it doesn't include some folks who were very prevalent in season 5, but it brings back Ivanova, who was not in season 5 at all. So it worked, though.
For Babylon 5.
Babylon 5, yeah, it worked. That had a very good ending. This was, after a little bit, I started like, oh, I see what she's doing. She's getting ready for this fight, and this is this is what's happening.
Yeah.
She is giving this to Pike.
Yeah.
This is something that will both carry in their future where she's now stuck as a guardian for eternity, and he will be in the void of his crippled body until Spock brings him to Talos 4.
Where he
Hooks
goes
up with
to
somebody
Vina.
else. This
He
does
lives-
throw that a little out of.
Oh no, you brought that up. It totally ruins the whole thing now to me.
So I thought about that, right?
Oh,
And I
God.
don't think it does, because I think Pike will be in a different place at that point, right? So he knows he can never be with Marie. He does have those memories. Vina, he and Vina have something very much in common. Their bodies were ruined by tragedy. This illusion gives them a chance to have some semblance of happiness, maybe in their waning years.
I can see what you're saying, and I'm not saying no to it.
Remember, they've met again since the cage.
I know. They started a whole episode using the scene from the cage to start a Discovery episode. And I sat there seeing that going, are they trying to, make things better for us? Or
They basically
no, they didn't
have
at
said
all.
this is a sequel to the cage. So it's like the first time in like Trek history that they was like a true sequel to a previous series episode.
Yeah.
Is what they were selling it as. I don't
I don't-
100% buy that.
I don't remember
there's-
that episode very well at all. The Discovery one.
But they do leap into Talos for space, and Pike does talk with Vina. So there is some connection there.
Yeah.
But Pike is definitely, he's reached a point where he's kind of come to grips with his upcoming fate. The fact that Marie is now in a similar position as him, I think actually makes this better for both of them. They both know that they have destinies they can't avoid, and that is needed for the best case scenario of the galaxy, so to speak. She knows that she needs to go and hold these people, these evil beings in place in this prison for eternity. He knows that he can't change his fate, and that if he did, it would actually lead to disaster for the Federation. So they both resign themselves to doing what is right for everybody but them.
That's right. I forgot about that. You're right. Him being in the balance of terror tilts the balance towards the Romulan. Yeah.
So this is actually, it was a good way for them to part. They know, while they're clearly and deeply in love, they both had to choose their destinies and their duty. So it fit for both characters. Although I thought it was kind of neat that as they do their leap forward through their various point in time, their daughter ends up getting married to Admiral April's son.
Yeah.
Again, these are things that remind me of the last episode of Scrubs.
I never saw it. Scrubs was around for a very hard time, where college and then starting my career, and I was working 18 hours a day. It was weird.
I didn't watch any of the series until I started watching it in reruns while I was laid up after, I think, wisdom teeth surgery or something. And it was all Comedy Central would run 2 straight hours of Scrubs episodes or something like that. But I didn't actually get it. So I ended up kind of catching the whole series in reruns, and then I caught its last season or season whatever 8 or whatever on ABC when it moved networks. I watched the last version of the full series to its conclusion, and then they had this like JD is watching like this flash forward, him and Elliot getting married, kids, yada down the line, right? And then they decided to bring the show back as kind of a pseudo spinoff where some of the main characters are now instructors at a medical
instructors.
hospital. Well, they're at a teaching hospital, so they're part professors, part doctors, that sort of thing. Anyway, this is
that was
kind
a
of
great year. That was a great idea, guys.
Still,
I tried to watch it. I tried. It was like, this is too different now. I can't.
It was fine, but I think they really needed to focus it more as a spin-off and a true continuation of the show. Anyway, still, Battelle and Pike, they managed to go through this portal. They Gamble knocks out Mbenga and is trying to destroy the Beholder to free the other Vesda, but Battelle kind of reaches into this power and then fights back and destroys him, traps all the Vesda in the prison, and assumes the Beholder.
And Cybok.
Yeah, a little. It's a little.
Cybok. Or what's the other guy? The other guy that was in struggle with his doppelganger for all of eternity in TOS. And and Kirk was shaken with that idea. He's like, imagine for all of eternity being in a life or death struggle.
The Lazarus episode?
It might have been. And all Spock could say is, it's not you.
It's me.
It's not you.
It's me.
It's he didn't go that far, but he just kept trying to reassure Kirk by saying it's not you.
And they do see, and it is kind of crazy, but it is you do start to see people kind of start settling. Everybody gets a little visual moment of some stuff where they're having a montage while Pike is trying to come to grips with the loss of Marie.
Mm-hmm.
But you see Spock and Kirk having a drink, chatting
Spock
a little.
saying, we'll be friends.
Yes, basically.
Yeah, we'll be friends. And then Uhura, she says, hailing frequencies open, sir.
Yep.
Or frequencies open.
No, she said hailing frequencies open.
She did say hailing frequencies open. But I'm like, I don't think I ever heard her say that in this show. So, I mean, They at least did that, and that was good. And
Spock, gets La'an comes over, and she and Spock go off and end up meditating, and you get just for a second. No, they show them they're actually.
I know.
But you just get a little moment of Kirk taking a quick side look. Yeah. But then his brother sits down and they smile and share a drink, which is good because most of the time they kind of bicker. You see them.
Yeah.
But that was a nice moment. I liked that. It was very understated. If you've seen the limited interactions between them, clearly there's a little bit of resentment for Sam to Jim because he's a little. I think he feels like their dad might have favored Jim more because Jim's more on the career command track and maybe didn't value the science as much. I don't know. He just feels like he's being overshadowed by a sibling a little. So they've butted some heads, but this was a nice moment between brothers, which will eventually end poorly.
Operation Annihilate.
Yeah. I think it's about time, though, they kind of, ask Sam, hey, when was the last time you talked to your wife and kid?
Yeah, there is that.
Because they don't make any
There's so
mention
many
of it.
Kirks. There's so many Kirks on this Enterprise right now.
So many Kirks.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Make your point, and then I got a question to ask you.
I mean, they did, kind of show people kind of moving, into their positions. Everybody gets a little visual over. And it was nice. Everybody gets a little love. You got, Una and Pike sitting together, Una being there for Pike, which is a very nice and understated part of this show. Is Una is the person that Pike can turn to talk to on the ship.
Yes.
You get a moment with Mbenga and Chapel, and she gets a little moment, with Corby, even though like he's staying behind, and it's all this, but then they basically end it with a debate as to whether or not he's going to say hit it, heading out the door. But you're starting to see Pike start to come around a little with the banter on the bridge, which I think is helpful to him.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Yeah. Whereas it could seem cheesy when you understand that it kind of brings a little smirk, a little smile to Pike's face and gives him a little
relief,
warmth that he needed.
Yep.
It goes over a lot better than it could if it wasn't as well executed.
Yep. That's it. I agree with that. I can concur. I did a lot of, hey, remember when this show did that? Or do you remember when this episode did the very same thing? I did that a lot tonight.
There was a few, yes.
There's been this season, for the 3 episodes that I've seen, all 3 of them have in some form or another reminded me of something else that happened in Star Trek lore. And I know that this was a common complaint throughout the season this year with a lot of people.
Yes.
Now, one could say, well, Star Trek's been around for a long time. They've done a lot of different things. True. But did you ever have those moments with the Orville? A very Star Trek-y TV show that basically was Star Trek, but not?
No, I definitely had moments where I'm like, this is some ways similar to this Star Trek episode.
Do you have anything top of mind? Because I've never had those moments with the Orville. And I've actually rewatched all episodes of the Orville, like truly touched by how well some of that story writing was.
I'm not saying it wasn't, but I'm definitely saying there was some clear homages. Okay.
But you can't think of anything. See, I mean, I would love to hear it, but you can't think of it off the top of your head. And I'm not blaming you. I get it.
I can't think of it off the top of my head because I haven't watched an episode of The Orville in like 2 years.
I know.
I know. I guarantee you, if you were to go back and listen to our episodes on The Orville, there will be actual examples.
Well, who's got time for that?
I know that they had episodes that were.
Maybe they were in some ways closer to Star Trek than not, but actual plots.
It didn't ruin it for me because they did enough on their own. But they would definitely go like, oh, yeah, this is quite familiar. Okay.
Sure. Well, I'm just saying, the Orville was the closest analog to Star Trek that I can think of, and I don't
Right.
recall. I don't recall
There's
the remember this, remember how Star Trek did this, or remember that with the Orville. That's just my point. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think it was a little more organic. That's all. Like, yeah, this is some, this reminds me of some things from Star Trek, maybe some episodes here, but they're not going. At sometimes this is a little more obvious. Like, hey, remember this is Star Trek. Remember this guy from that one episode?
Yeah.
They had that more, a couple of times. I mean, they introduced both Trelane and Roger Corby in the same episode, where you can't go, oh well, yeah. I'm not saying that if it's not done right, like what I'll give them is this this wasn't even like Picard trying to relive something in Tapestry. This is a guy changing everything. So that wasn't, that the episode itself wasn't a ripoff, but there was a lot of, oh, hey, look at this Star Trek stuff. You know what I mean?
I see what you're putting down. I'm not necessarily picking up all the chips, though.
That's your fault.
It is. I felt like it was a little bit more reliant on previous Star Trek elements.
Well, clearly it is, and that is an unfortunate. It's a catch-22 sometimes for these guys. If they don't do enough that feels like Star Trek or feels connected to the universe, some people get pissed, right?
It can feel like that without saying, "Hey, remember this?" Like,
or they can lean too heavily in the nostalgia, and people go, "Dude, it's a little ham-fisted, don't you think?" So there is a tightrope that they have to walk.
As a writer, and I know Hollywood's banging on my door to ask me for advice and stuff. There are ways.
You're pretentious enough.
Oh, stop! Come on now. that was low, man.
This from the guy who likes to use the term auteur.
I say that sardonically.
And you use terms sardonically.
Yeah. I'm not gonna withhold my vocabulary here. Anyway, that being said, if you're getting up in your head when you're just wanting to tell a good story, then you're not going to tell the good story. But if you're getting up in your head by saying, I need to make this too much more like Star Trek, or it doesn't feel like Star Trek enough, or if you're getting caught up in the minutia like that, you're not gonna get caught up in the actual story. There were a lot of good elements, a lot like Captain America: Brave New World. There are a lot of good elements in this episode, but when you add it all up, it just felt little off.
Well, it's kind of like taking a bunch of puzzle pieces that maybe they all somehow miraculously fit together, but they're from all different puzzles, and it looks like a mess when you get it together.
Yeah.
Or Legos.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not hating on it. I just observations, man. Observations. And it ended very pretty. It was very nice. I liked it.
It was.
It did have a good moment at that end. I will say that. So anyway,
one of the most recent episodes did have cetacean ops in it.
No, my my desktop, my desk pad that I lay everything on is a side, I don't know. It's an interior vivisection of the Enterprise D, And there is a huge section for cetacean ops in the saucer section. Massive. And you're like, I'd like to see that, please. Why would they even do that? Just like a little fun design thing that they thought would be okay. Just as like a little in joke, because hilarious.
Yep.
The first time we actually saw a cetacean use of the cetacean facilities was in Lower Decks, but the first time we mentioned it, it was, what is it? The Mirror, or Dark Mirror with Peter David.
Yeah.
The dolphin, which prompted I said, hey, there's a dolphin that talks in this and is an astrophysicist that specializes in quantum string theory. And my dad goes, when I was your age, I collected baseball cards. And then he walked away. So, yeah. So
Yeah,
cetaceans bring me back. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty sure I saw it.
Are you looking for it?
I am.
Oh, well, it's not worth our time. We're already over. So
yeah.
You can throw it to me later. I'll throw it up on the website. It'll be fine. So but all right. Oh man. Let's see if I could try to play the music. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Great.
Am I drowned out?
No, you're good.
Grades. I'll give it a B.
All right. I give it a B plus.
Okay. Yeah, solid. I mean, definitely not the rage enhancers that some of the Discovery episodes were, that's for sure. So, but I'll take it. And you guys know that if I take it, it's a win. So
that is true.
And on that note, everybody, that's the ultimate end. Thank you for joining us. We are those Sci-Fi guys. I am P.S. McKay. Until the next time, it's out there.
And I'm DT Cavman. And thank you for joining us. And we'll see you on the high ground.
Those Sci-Fi Guys is an independent broadcast by Alpha Site Productions, produced by DT Cavman and P.S. McKay. Ocean by music by Aiden under Creative Commons license. For more information on upcoming episodes, follow P.S. McKay on X at P.S. McKay or go to thosesci-fi-guys.com for past episode information. You can now find us on Spotify, so head on over there for our latest episodes. But don't worry, you can still find us on Apple. We're also live on Rumble, and you can also find us on YouTube with live video podcasts and Facebook. So be sure to leave a like and a comment and just let us know how we're doing.